Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today's topic, a topic I've been thinking about a lot, is about protecting the sacredness and integrity of marriage. Now, first and foremost, marriage is sacred, and in order to have a healthy and sustainable marriage, the integrity of the marriage needs to be protected. So, how do you do that? Okay. The first thing we need to do in marriage is practice transparency. That is, um, we don't do anything that would just cause our partners to mistrust us, basically. Um, and as an example, I, for example, used to sometimes meet with women, clients in town, or have lunch and so on as part of the work I do. And I'd, my wife would get a call and someone to tell her, what, I saw your husband, having lunch with another woman. And my wife would say, yeah, I know. Why? Because I told her, look, I'm going, to meet so and so for lunch. Okay, and of course, people know me quite well, so they would tell my wife, I saw your husband with another woman, and she'd be like, yes, I know. And if it was that I don't do that or didn't do that, I might be cross-questioned by my wife, who are you with, and this and that and the other. And if I tried to cover it up for some reason, or I felt that it was going to be a problem, if she knew and now I need to cover it up, well, then she would not trust me. She would no longer trust me because I have caused her to doubt, uh, my character and my behavior. Um, so, and from there, it leads to insecurity and paranoia in your partner, and basically, it would create a situation where your partner will, uh, you know, act overly, would be overly interested in everything you do and your movements and so on and so forth because, well, they, feel that maybe they can trust you. So, transparency. Woman and male friends in marriage. Male friends in marriage is generally a no-no, okay? Because everyone would tell you that men who have female friends, if presented with the opportunity to sleep with said female friend, 90% of the time, such men would do so if they lack moral fiber, of course, or they are just waiting for things to be disrupted in your marriage, or for the woman to become vulnerable, to take the opportunity to sleep with her, or they're not even going to wait for that. They're just going to try to seduce her from the beginning, right? And vulnerability in a woman renders her more open to to do messing up like that. And because marriage is sacred, and because marriage involves a lot, and because uh, the parties in the marriage could be badly hurt by infidelity, not to, and it could break up and ruin the lives of children, etc., etc. It is not worth risking your marriage, for a male friend, someone who is arguably, by comparison to your marriage, insignificant. So you got to decide what your priorities are. If your marriage is your priority, as a woman, your marriage is your priority, then you should not be entertaining male friends, because some males, or many males, are extremely unscrupulous and would actually be constantly trying to undermine your marriage. And so anything that goes wrong in your marriage, any argument you have, anything, the male will try to move in, you know, and take advantage of the vulnerability of the woman, and, you know, possibly sleep with her. And once she had sex outside of marriage, well, obviously then there's no coming back from that, you know. Um, and then meanwhile, if she had just stayed uh, without going to male friends and resolved her problems, you know, her vulnerabilities, whatever she might have in house with her family, with her husband, with her relatives, you know, then there would be no problem. Basically, the marriage can continue after the problem has occurred. But of course, once she's slept with someone else, then there's no coming back from that. So, and all it takes is a few minutes, you know, to ruin basically your whole life, you know. And it's like that with actions. I mean, it takes 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you know, uh, for someone to be born and grow into adulthood and all of that. And it just takes a second of someone's uncontrolled aggression to kill the person. And the person can say, look, I was mad at that time and I was angry, and then killed the person. The person committed murder in a fit of rage and anger. But guess what? That second ended a life of 50 years. Okay? And so the same with marriage, the same with arguments, the same with fighting. You can do something rash, and your rash actions, sometimes, it just cannot be undone. The damage you do, you can basically, it takes years to build bridges, and you can basically burn it down in a few seconds. You know, by doing some rash action, by trying to spite your husband, by throwing a tantrum because you didn't get your way, or whatever the case, you can basically burn down bridges that takes years to build. So should, what about if, you know, women have male friends that they've had for a long time, and now, you know, they get married and they still have these male friends? I mean, what should happen, you know? Can they continue to have those male friends? Is it a good idea for them to continue to have those male friends? I would say, then in that case, because the male instinct is much sharper than the female instinct when it comes to men and what men want, there are instances where genuinely a man is not interested in a woman, okay, not sexually interested in a woman at all, okay, and he genuinely has been a friend, kind of like, he's almost like a girlfriend, in other words. So he has no sexual interest in her whatsoever, and he has genuinely been her friend, and they never experience sexual tension. And even if she should say, yes, I want to sleep with you, he won't sleep with her. Those are rare instances. Okay, most men, if their female friends should say, yes, let's do it, they will probably just do it. Because a lot of times, a man in a friendship with a woman is actually hoping that the friendship would become more than just friends, or friends with benefits. But his only reason why he's just her friend is because she wants it that way. Usually that's the case. So, but the minute she feels in a sense of vulnerability or anything like that, he'll move in. Okay? So, in that case, the husband should simply meet the friends of the male friends, and if he's okay with them, I mean, he feels okay with them, and they feel okay with him, then probably they're okay. Probably uh, those male friends, are not going to try to undermine the marriage, because, as in the case with many men, especially if you love the man, so that these friends, these male friends of the female, should become the very close friend of the man. Okay, so her friends should become his friends, and if they develop a good relationship with him and they really care about him, they would not want to undermine his marriage. Okay, but even that, I mean, there's been many instances of men losing their wives to their best friends, okay, or their lovers, many instances, because the best friend is always in proximity with the wife, and the friend is actually checking out the wife, your best friend is actually checking out your wife, and then your wife is actually meeting with your best friend when you're not around, and in the end, your wife ends up with your best friend. She leaves you for your best friend, and it's happened many times. And so the best thing is simply don't introduce, if you do have friends, and they are good friends of yours, your male friends, just don't make your male friends friends of your wives. Okay, your friends are your friends, they are not your wife's friends. They Don't allow them to call your wife, don't allow them to hang out with your wife, don't allow your friends to participate in your marriage or your marriage problems. And this is for women. Do not talk about your marriage or your marriage problems to your male friends, okay, if you have them, because they would seek to undermine your marriage. That's just how men are, okay? That's the instinct of men. And you would end up with one of your male friends, and the way men are who fuck married women is that they have no intention normally to keep the married woman, okay? They will fuck the married woman and then want to return her the next day to her husband, because they don't want to be responsible for the woman. They don't want to have to look after the woman. They don't want to have to deal with the woman's emotional baggage. They don't want to deal with all that shit. They just want to fuck the woman, okay? But they want to return her to her husband after that. That's how men are who fuck married women. That's why they fuck married women. Because by fucking a married woman, they don't have to invest anything in her, okay? Because someone else is already doing that. And they want someone else to be doing that so they can just have fun with her, right? So that's kind of the thing about men who fuck married women. They just interested only in fucking her. And so if your wife has a male friend, and you as a man, your instincts go wild because you have instincts as a man, right? You should tell her that she can't have that male friend, especially, because it's very easy for men to cause a woman to stray from her marriage. Simple as that. He just takes advantage of her vulnerabilities, and then she'll stray from her marriage. She will think that her emotions will start to gravitate towards that guy. She will think that she's in love with that guy. Meanwhile, that guy is not interested in her emotional shit or anything like that. He just wanted to fuck her a few times. That's it. And he wanted to return her after that, home to her husband. So that's what happens very often with men who fuck married women. So the decent thing to do, the safest thing to do is for women not to have, when you are married woman, don't have male friends. Simple. Don't talk to men and don't have male friends. Have female friends. And if you do have male friends, then it would be male friends that you and your husband have in common, and that they will not be your male friends, they will basically be friends of the family, okay? And your relationship with this man should not be a private relationship. Okay, it should be a relationship in common with your husband. The minute you start going off and having a private relationship with your husband's friend, then you are opening the door to infidelity. And most women know that that's what they're doing. And that's the truth. They know that that's what they're doing. It's not uh, uh, rocket science. Okay, women are smarter than, a lot of times, smarter than they let on. Okay, they would act like everything is all innocent, but actually they are opening the door for infidelity, and they know that that's what they're doing. Okay. The other thing that is very important if you want to protect the integrity of your marriage is also with regards to men and female friends, is that you keep a healthy distance between yourself and female friends that you may have. Okay, also it's best for you actually not to have female friends. Okay, because female friends, again, who are friends with married men, often envy the marriage that the man has and would like to have what the man's wife has. So, in other words, sometimes female friends actually want to usurp the position of the wife. Okay, so they also try to undermine your marriage. Your husband's female friends would also seek to undermine your marriage. And so if your husband has female friends, you as a wife, you should actually tell him, look, you can't have these female friends, unless of course he's into polygyny, and he could sees himself as possibly marrying more women, and for that, and not necessarily for that reason, but he has female friends, and if he were to actually want to have sex with any of his female friends, or if he were to feel a sense of commitment, loyalty, or whatever, love or whatever for a female friend, and he wants to marry her, that's a different story. Okay, then that is him being a polygynous man, because he's allowed to have, or he is allowed to have several wives. So in that case, a polygynous man may have female friends, but these friends have to be kept at a safe distance, because there's a big difference in having a side chick and having another wife, you know. So you don't want to have a female friend who becomes your side chick because you're having an affair with her. You want a female that you're going to marry that's going to be your wife, another wife. And there's a big difference between that. So if you happen to be talking to a woman who's just your friend, supposedly, then you ought to keep her at a good distance. So what I mean by that, men, is you're not going to go hang out with her, you're not going to go on dates with her, you're not going to go for coffee with her, you're not going to do any of those things. You're probably going to talk to her now and again on WhatsApp. And if you are going to go with her for coffee and so on, do yourself the favor and just, even if your wife doesn't like it, tell your wife, I am going for coffee with so and so. And your wife may not like it. She's going to be like, like, why are you going for coffee with her? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's obvious why you're going for coffee with her, because you like her, or kind of, trying to suss her out, see whether maybe she'd be interested, or maybe she won't be, but whatever. The point is, even if your wife doesn't like it, okay, this is now from the male perspective, be honest. Just let her know, so that when people come back and say, hey, I saw your wife with so-and-so, she would say, yes, I know. Okay, they went for coffee. She doesn't like it, but she knows. Okay. It's different for women, of course. Look, if your husband doesn't want you to hang with a particular man because he doesn't trust a particular man, don't hang with a man. Okay, you have to decide what's more important, your marriage or your hanging with that man. And if you decide hanging with that man is more important than your marriage, then obviously you don't care about your marriage. Your marriage is not a priority in your life. So you should go and hang with that man. But before you do, just leave your husband and then go and hang with the man. Okay? And usually a man who is prepared, and men know this because I know a lot of very decent men who simply will not do it, who simply will not be going for coffee or talking to or having long conversations, whether on WhatsApp or whether visiting and so on, someone else's wife. Most men, in fact, are decent that way and will not do that. Okay, most men. So, if there is a man, and this is an advice to women, if there is a man that's prepared to visit you, hang out with you, talk to you, and go out with you, knowing that you're a married woman, all he wants to do is fuck you. Okay? That's the truth. All he wants to do is fuck you because he's not respecting your marriage. And he's not an honorable man because honorable men understand the propriety of men. They understand that a man himself he himself would not like someone to be taking his wife out. He wouldn't like someone to be meeting his wife in secret. He wouldn't like some guy to be chatting up his wife on WhatsApp or anything like that. He wouldn't like that. And therefore he would not do it to someone else. Okay? And that's most men. Most men are actually decent that way. Okay? But a real slimy man will go behind the husband's back and meet with his wife and talk to his wife, and the only reason why he's doing that is because he wants to fuck her. There's no other reason. Okay? He can't say, oh, I'm just meeting with her because we're just friends and we just this. Because decent men would simply just not do it. That's the honest truth. Okay? Decent men who feel that a woman is married, who know that she's married, who can see that she's in a committed relationship with her husband, will not trespass on the husband's propriety, especially if they know the husband will mind. Okay, you do get husbands who simply just don't mind, okay? But especially if they know the husband will mind because they don't want to create problems between a man and his wife. And a man who does that willingly, right, is deliberately creating problems between a man and his wife because he doesn't give a fuck, because he just wants to fuck her. He's just following his dick, okay? And that's the truth. So, ladies, all I can say is, please take care of yourselves, take care of your marriages, respect the propriety that your husband has over you because he is your husband and you did marry him, you know? And if there are particular men that he really does not want you to associate with, there's a reason, okay? Men have instincts about these things, okay? And men, respect your wives. Don't fraternize with females at length, you know, foster relationships with women that could become intimate, especially if you are not planning on having another wife. Because, so why the fuck are you fostering a relationship with a woman and allowing it to be intimate when what are you going to do about it, basically is what I'm saying. Are you going to be able to be honorable about it or not? Because if you're not planning on having another wife, then why are you doing it? Okay? You want to have an affair? It's just a question, you know? So take care of yourselves, people. Marriage is sacred again. Look after it. It's a beautiful thing to be married. It's wonderful to be in committed, lasting, loving marriage. And all it takes to burn that bridge down is for you to practice infidelity and you would have fucked everything up. And so it's not worth losing your beautiful, lovely, committed relationship with your husband just because you want to hang out with another man. Thank you very much.